United States. This is but one of many studies that makes the compelling case for OA policies for all government-funded research, some by Houghton and some by others. Those who most strongly question these studies are also the sponsors of efforts to eliminate OA policies, because it is in their interest to do so. But we should not settle for economic arguments alone, when there is an equally powerful case to be made for the advancement of human knowledge that is perhaps the most important value of the Academy. Let me give you the OA talking points that we have developed at ARL. Open access to research articles is a critical driver of scientific innovation and productivity. It increases citations and follow-on research. It promotes diversity in follow-on research. It increases the pursuit of new research pathways. It encourages faster application of the research. Faster access lets scientists incorporate new findings into their research very rapidly. Open access to these articles allows scientists to use new tools like machine reading, computational tools, to get to and to read more information faster. Open access, in short, also enables the use of machines as a new category of reader. And finally, open access encourages contributions by unforeseen participants, expanding the potential for new, innovative, interdisciplinary discoveries. Again, we find a body of research literature that proves the productivity gains for scientific research. But the most compelling case, I think, is made by the scholars who directly participate in the benefits of openness, and those who speak to the real-life impact that it has on their work. The Berlin 9 conference held in Washington, D.C. this past November, the impact of open access and research scholarship, brought together an international audience and of research scholars who expressed in no uncertain terms how indispensable OA is to the accomplishment of their work, and the future of their disciplines from the humanities to the hard sciences. Their emphasis was not on advocacy. They weren't telling anybody how to push OA policies or how to get it through get OA legislation through the Congress of the United States. Their emphasis was that OA was a fact of their everyday professional life, their work. It is integral to the way they think about their work, from the initial research and experimentation to collaboration and final publication of the research results. Don't tell them that their works, published by large commercial firms, need the protection of federal legislation from open posting and should forever be behind a paywall that prevents large-scale access. For them, the principle of openness is essential, inviolate. One gets the feeling, listening to these scholars, that whatever attempts are made, however real they are, to reverse the trend towards OA will inevitably fail. We even see in the commercial STM camp the glimmers of recognition that the future may be with open access. For instance, a single example. In 2011, at the STM meeting in Frankfurt, Stephen Hall, who's the managing director of the Institute of Physics Publishing in London, posed a critical issue to his audience. I quote, "There's unease and even strong resistance in the publishing community to imposition of mandates by funding agencies which force researchers to use particular model of dissemination and restrict their choice of publication. So how should publishers respond to the growing demand for open access? By engaging or by opposing?" Hall went on to describe a reaction of the publishers as going through something like the 5 stages of grief. First, denial, then anger, then bargaining, then depression, and finally acceptance. He observed that OA will not be the only business model, but it will play a very large role. He laid out a set of principles of constructive engagement, arguing strongly for gold over green OA, understandably. To his credit, though, he urged that when OA gold publication fees were taken by publishers, they should not they should avoid the cynical intent of not taking them into account in pricing and the size of the profits that they were to take. He indeed indicated that there should be a willingness among publishers to take a bit of a haircut economically. This is a sign of a pretty profound shift, at least by one well-known publisher. Research institutions have vigorously initiated an important part of the path forward towards OA that emphasizes the key value of sharing. And that is open access strategies in general. OA is really being led by our universities. Worldwide, over 300 research and higher education institutions have a variety of mandates, both institutional and sub-institutional. In the U.S. and Canada, 49 colleges and universities have one or more OA mandates, and 31 of these are ARL members. These mandates are supported by the recent founding of the Coalition of Open Access Policy Institutions. It will collaborate and share implementation strategies and advocate on a national level. For those who have not, it is time to engage faculties in a discussion about a deposit mandate on campuses. At the same time, this is not a large proportion of our institutions. We must recognize this, and it is important that such OA policies become characteristic and widespread. The most strongly supported passage of the Federal Research Public Access Act comes from our universities. About half of AAU institutions alone and numerous others have endorsed FERPA, which will extend the NIH posting policy to other federal agencies and has the potential to enable the maximum downstream use of the investment in research. At the beginning of February this year, FERPA legislation was reintroduced simultaneously in both houses of Congress, exact same wording. In today's political climate, you should note, this is an extraordinary example of bicameral bipartisanship, not characteristic of the Republicans and Democrats normally. The White House itself is considering an executive order. Continued support for the passage of FERPA is nonetheless essential. There are today over 1,700 OA repositories on campuses worldwide that provide the infrastructure investment that allows widespread posting of research results. Supporting these IRs is vital. The OA movement itself is now 10 years old. It's pretty young. It's just about to go to middle school. It has gained enormous momentum within the academy. It has grown to include a broader vision of what it means to be open, embracing not just the end products of research, those things that used to appear in print, in journals and books, but the full life cycle of research from data gathering to publication. The federal agency's mandates for data curation plans in research proposals is indicative of the emerging sense that data must be preserved for the future reuse and data mining. Moreover, data are not, I repeat, data are not copyrightable and so do not create the same immense roadblock to broad use and reuse that is posed by copyrighted materials. Some investment risk management researchers, principally international ones I might add, in Europe, now flatly assert that the large STM commercial publishers have an unsustainable business model and are in great jeopardy from OA. I've tried to describe the emerging trends that I believe make it reasonable to believe that in no more than 30 to 38 years, something fundamentally different will replace them and dramatically alter the other elements of scholarly communication landscape. This leads to three closing questions. What will a librarian, an archivist, or any information professional do in a world in which the resources that used to march across the shelves of our libraries and our archives are freely accessible on the Internet? What will a library or an archive become in such an environment? And finally, what will an iSchool curriculum do to educate for this work and what will it look like? Thank you.